With breaking news, the White House confirms Hamas and Israel have agreed to a 2-day extension to that ceasefire that began last week.
Apparently under the same terms that have held so far. For every hostage released by Hamas, you get roughly 3 prisoners and detainees from Israeli jails released as well. So there have been dozens of hostages released, and we're into the hundreds of Palestinian prisoners released on the Israeli side. Among the hostages, some big news over the weekend. The first American release, that was a 4-year-old girl. She has dual citizenship. Both her parents were killed in the attack of October 7th.
John Kirby discussed the deal at today's press briefing. You want to listen in?
So just right at the top, of course, we welcome the announcement just a little bit ago, I think the last hour or so, by Qatar, that the humanitarian pause in Gaza, now in its 4th day, will be extended for another 2 days through Thursday morning Israel time. This humanitarian pause has already brought a halt to the fighting, together with a surge of humanitarian assistance. Now, in order to extend the pause, Hamas has committed to releasing another 20 women and children over the next 2 days. We would, of course, hope to see the pause extended further, and that will depend upon Hamas continuing to release hostages. The president has been deeply engaged on this process throughout the Thanksgiving weekend.
CBS News Chief White House correspondent Nancy Cordes joins us now. Nancy, thank you very much for joining us here. We've got an evolving situation this afternoon. We thought that the two sides might reach an agreement to extend this truce, but we don't know much about the details. We presume it's some sort of continuation of what exists so far, but what's the latest? What do you know?
Tony, what we're hearing from officials here at the White House and from the Qatari government is that this is a humanitarian pause that will last an additional 2 days. So today was supposed to be the last of 4 days, and then theoretically the two sides could have resumed fighting tomorrow. Instead, that pause, if all goes well, will last until at least Thursday morning. And in exchange, the Palestinians, the Hamas officials in Gaza have agreed to release 20 more, at least 20 more women and children who have been held hostage for over 7 weeks now, in exchange for more humanitarian aid being trucked into Gaza. So there's one more group of hostages who are supposed to be handed over today. That handoff was already supposed to have taken place, but there were some disagreements between Hamas and Israelis about the names that were on the list of individuals to be released today. Apparently, there were some mothers who were not being released with their children. And that was part of the deal. So that took some time to work out, but we're told that is now back on track. That group is expected to be released at some point this afternoon. And then what all sides are hailing as a breakthrough is the fact that more hostages will be released over the next couple of days. And the White House is expressing hope that perhaps this humanitarian pause can go on even after Thursday if Hamas commits to releasing even more Israelis.
Nancy, it's very early, as we know this is all breaking, but any idea if any of these hostages that will be released today are Americans?
We do not know. White House officials say they are hopeful that that 2 of the hostages released today will be 2 American women, but they've been saying that for days. They said from the very beginning that they thought that 2 women plus Abigail Edan, the 4-year-old who you just mentioned, Tony and Meg, would be released in this first group over the first 4 days of this humanitarian pause. Well, we're now on day 4. Those 2 American women haven't been released yet, so the hope is that they will be released today. It's possible that White House officials already know whether those 2 women are on the list or not, and simply aren't sharing it with us because that has been their custom over the past few days. They don't want to say anything publicly until those individuals are out and it's confirmed that they are healthy and they are making their ways to the hospital and back into the arms of their loved ones. So we'll find out one way or the other later tonight, but we just don't have word right now.
Nancy Cordes from the White House. Nancy, thank you very much.
You're welcome.